money count from my third shift at Pentagon, which is an establishment at the Gold Coast, also known on TikTok as a broccoli. Now this is probably the saddest money count for full service I have ever seen. I really thought I was going to be leaving with nothing tonight, and I would have to come on here and be like, money count, and have nothing in my hands, because this happened at the last second. I really thought I was going to leave with nothing, and my money count would be, you know, I made nothing tonight besides a $200 gift card I was generously gifted by one of the guys. I know you'll probably watch this, thank you very much. Obviously my online page made money today, but this is what I made from an 8-hour shift from 4 p.m. until midnight. I think it's really important that we talk honestly about, you know, the kind of money you can make in these establishments, because sometimes it's shit like this. Sometimes it's shit. There was like maybe 5 or 6 intros the entire time I was there. Nobody was making good money, and the bookings that did go ahead before me, they were standards, which I've been trying to dodge. I might do a separate video on that, but for now, let's just count this sad stack of money, okay? 1, 2, 3, 20, 35. $335. This was from one client right at the end at about 11:30 p.m. And it was for a 45-minute GFE, and this was my cut. Now let me just say, this booking that I did was not easy at all, and I want to explain to you guys what happened. I think it's important to talk about these experiences, and I don't owe the clients that I'm seeing in the establishment, I don't owe them, you know, privacy of their encounters, because I'm working for such a cheap rate. I still would never share their name or their age or any identifying features. So this guy does the intro, he argues with me about my price a little bit, he does end up booking after quite a bit of back and forth and pays my full GFE rate, okay? He was arguing about $50, which I did find a little bit unusual, but you know, sometimes this is just what it's like in broccolis. We get up to the room, he has a shower and everything like that, he's fine through his health check. When we get started though, he's being very rough. Like, I'm talking like PSE level rough, and he's paid for GFE. Thank you, Rupert, for intruding. I can't really say a lot in detail on here because of the guidelines, but we're talking hard, heavy, smacking around, really hurting me. He had a very severe curve, which was causing it to be quite painful for me. When I was in certain positions, he was getting angry at, you know, how high I was in certain positions, and I'm like, babe, if I go lower, you're gonna actually hurt me. And then he was insisting and squishing my body down in a certain position I can't name on here, so that he could get it the way he wanted, but it was hurting me, and I don't know who does that position that way. Anyway, he was also doing the deed to my face, like with force, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, I have to be so around the bush, but I'm hoping at least 1 or 2 of you are picking up what I'm putting down. He essentially tried to turn it into like almost a PSE booking. On top of that, he was continuously asking to take the protection off. I want to say he asked me about 10 times before I snapped, and I was on top. Everything was up in me, and I was looking down at him, and I was like, if you ask me one more time, I'm going to end your fucking booking. So annoying, because like, as if I'm going to do something, like, I'm covered for this. This is what I made. Like, on what planet? I've been offered crazy amounts of money to do that, and I've said no. This is laughable. The issue is, the more that they ask and pester, it feels like pressure. It feels like someone is trying to force you, and obviously he's a lot stronger, he's a bigger, stockier guy, and I'm in the weaker, vulnerable position. If I was a new worker in that situation, I may have been pressured into doing it. The other thing is, when they're that pushy about it, I'm 10 times more paranoid about checking that it is on at all times. And in some of those positions, the way he was doing it and how rough he was being and kind of twirling it in there, it felt as if he was trying to get it to come off inside, which I think may have been his goal in some of those positions. It was an absolute nightmare, and even after I told him to stop, he stopped for about 5 minutes and then he started again. Now, what's really hard is when these people are regulars of the venue, and it's told to you that they're a regular of the venue, and you know, he's getting a 50% discount from the venue because he's come in 8 times with his membership card. Like, it's really hard to put your foot down and like kick them out mid-booking, because I'm worried that all of this money is going to get refunded, even though I've been in there for half an hour so far doing the service, which they shouldn't be allowed to do, but some of these venues do. I genuinely hated every second of that booking. That man was horrible. That was horrific. And I am not normally somebody with a super sensitive nose. I don't normally whinge and moan about body odor, but that was next level. They actually had to open up that room and air it out after that booking. And I can still smell it in my nose. It's disgusting. The shower was not enough. He needed like a super soaker. Like, he needed to be scrubbed. But yes, this is the non-glamorous side of sex work, and this is really important that I see this and that I feel this and that I experience this, because if I don't want to turn into somebody who's ungrateful for the money that I'm making, you know, this is the way to do it. So this is shift 3. I've said I would do 5. I'm not 100% sure if I physically can work tomorrow. I've been severely hurt from that booking down there, and I'm having a lot of issues mentally processing what I'm going through within these venues for such a small amount of money, which I want to do a separate video on. I just don't know how I feel. I'm going to see how I am tomorrow. So this might be the last one, or I might continue to push for those 2 more. I don't know, guys, but I have really tried. I've really tried to make this series. I'm trying to show what it's really like. I might also add in here, because one of the girls, the girls did disclose to me how much they had made. So one of the girls had been there all day and stayed until, I want to say, about 8 p.m. She'd had 2 bookings. She'd made about $300, $250, $300. Another girl had 1 booking. I'm not sure how much she made. It was an hour, I believe, and I'm gonna guess she got extras, but I don't know how much for. Let's assume somewhere around the $300 mark. And there was another girl that did a standard, so she would have got 100 for the standard, and then she had a regular come in who would have given her extras. That was all the bookings, and this one that I had, that was it. That was the total money spread between, how many girls was there? 5 or 6 girls. In the end, there was only the 2 of us still there. But yeah, sometimes there's just no money. It doesn't matter what you do, there's no money. Anyway, I'm gonna go put this money away. I'm clearly sweaty and gross. And I'm just gonna take it easy on myself tonight, because that was really rough once again. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope it's something different. And again, thank you very much to the gentleman who sent the gift card tonight. Yeah, I really thought that was all I was going to make tonight. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.